So a 3P is basically production process preparation. So you begin the process by teaching people basically a value streaming process.
And that was a process that we undertook about 3 weeks ago with a slightly smaller group than we have here today.
So those who were in Regina 2 weeks ago for the preliminary planning had done some value stream mapping in terms of finding out in education what barriers we have and what things can be optimized.
So we looked at those processes and how we could improve those processes to better serve students.
And then we moved that process into the fishboning, which is basically now taking those things and saying, how are we going to do that? How are we going to overcome those barriers?
Now a fishbone applies the 4 M's, manpower, machines, materials, and methods, to the value stream. So we take a look at each one of those steps in that value stream, the non-value added and the value added, and we actually apply resources to them.
Fishboning makes us examine the problem in a slightly different way and really break it down into those distinct elements that are either there and available as resources or are missing. And so it allows us to focus in on what do we really require to support that process.
What we did after the fishboning is that we were asked to come up with basically 7 different plans per group. And the idea behind that is that once you start having to come up with different ones, you start to get really creative and you start to come up with new solutions that can't just be done over and over again.
These size of groups really helps because there's more people, more ideas. But then when we cut it down into smaller groups, when we did the 7 ways, basically that just meant smaller ideas, but we have more collaboration time and we have more time to think about the stuff that we're doing.
So it's really cool because we're getting to share all of our ideas for different types of learning, what learning could look like now, but more importantly, what we think it's going to look like in the future. So a lot of different spaces and things that maybe schools don't have right now, different ways of using the gym, different ways of using resource areas, libraries, things like that. So it's been really cool to start to design what a school could look like.
We are building scale models for the schools that will be built.
We did a decision by advantage and we picked a couple of designs to try and work those into a full-scale model, and obviously some of the elements worked and we had to change them. So it was lots of voices, lots of teacher voices, lots of student voices.
And so that's what a 3P really is. It's a reassessment of how the work will get done and an interpretation of that literally by the people that are going to do that work into the design of the space that they're going to do it in.
So this morning we started with an introduction by Don Morgan, and then we went through all the different models that we worked on all week long, and everybody talked about the pros of the models and the value that all the different models had.
I think if you look at it in a positive way, you find out basically how others think. We got 5 different school divisions. Some are public school divisions, some are Catholic school divisions. So they each have their own ideals, and that's why there's different school divisions, and how we can work together. Obviously we are going to be working together because we are building joint use facilities, but how we can work together really seriously and make a difference.
It's really cool working with all of the different people, working with the different divisions, but also people in different roles. We've got a great group of students here that have done some amazing work here.
Education's becoming more and more student-led, student-directed. Not that teachers aren't important anymore, but what we provide is different. We need to hear what they need and what they want, and I think we need to give kids more credit for what they're able to do and how they're able to direct their own learning.
And now that they're bringing in the students, I think it's going to really change the way that the schools are and really change it for the better.
I think probably the most I've been able to bring a student perspective, because lots of the times the teachers actually do get caught up in the curriculum. They start focusing on why are we building this school so we get the right amount of curricular space, when really they should be focusing on how does this space affect our students in general and how learning will happen, not just the curriculum.
I think moving forward we're going to become less as information providers, because I don't think that we need to be giving students information that they can Google. I think what we need to do now is to start taking curriculum and taking spaces and amalgamating them into more of a problem solving and a critical thinking role instead of giving them answers. They can find answers. We need to show them how to find the answers and how to judge what the good answers are.
Those are the levels of dialogue that we need to get to in order to truly understand the problem. Because we just too often move really quickly into, well, we know how to design buildings and let's just do it how it's been done before and tweak that. No, we're looking for greater solutions than that.
And of course, you know what, it's student first. So we have to make sure that the student is going to benefit and how we can work together to betterment education.
Well, I'm going to go back to my classroom with my students and with my staff, and I'm just going to feel more valued as a professional. Having the minister, Don Morgan, here today, listening to what I had to say, really made me feel like as a teacher I was valued in Saskatchewan.